Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Southern Wealth. I hope the beginning of the week has been very good to all of you. If you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. We are only 9 subs away from the magical number of 800. So thank you very much in advance for that. By the way, tomorrow is live stream day. So in case you guys haven't noticed, turn on that notification bell so you know exactly when I go live. I hope to see some nice attendance. I hope that you guys have some questions for me. There's been a lot happening in the past few weeks. Most of it, in my opinion, very positive. Other things, not so positive. But in any case, let's kick start it. Today, CPI came out. The core CPI is a bit high, in my view, but it's still at around the 4% mark. And the headline CPI has decreased to 3 or 3.1%. Point being, there was no major impact. You may recall this, I've said this 100 times before, I'll say it again. Anytime you see too much of a subject, the coming out of news around that subject has less and less impact. Now, you guys may recall what happened in September 2001. First news were terrible, then more updates had less and less impact. If you recall 2008, each bankruptcy had a big impact. The more bankruptcies happened, the least impact it had. But for those of you who don't remember those times, go back to 2020 when there was something around the globe. The first pieces of news were very damaging to the markets, and as soon as they came out, more cases, more this, more that, but the impact was lower and lower. Same thing for the interest rate hikes, same thing for the inflation numbers. Same thing, may I add, once you have the first Bitcoin ETF approved, it's going to be big stuff. Then the second is going to be big, third, and by the time you get to the 7 or 8, the impact is going to be barely noticeable in the price. This is just how it goes. Okay, so there's the big impact, and then we move into basically, the market expecting it to come. So the only way that you're going to see a big impact from inflation, both positive or negative, in my opinion, will be once you have major events. What do I mean by that? So you really need to either be really bad or really, really good to have an impact, like to substantially either be above or below expectations. Not 0.1%, not 0.2, I'm talking about like half a percentage point, something like that. I do believe the Fed will keep pausing, meaning they will not raise or cut rates this time around. I think they will probably reconvene the message of strength, of focus in keeping interest rates higher, all of those things. But I actually don't think they're gonna increase rates in the near term. Not this time, not the other one. We'll see if by Q1 or Q2 2024 they start cutting rates. Once again, that's going to be a buy the news, buy the rumor, sell the news event, in my opinion. So when actually they cut rates, I do expect markets to go down for quite some time. And when I say quite some time, I'm talking around 2 to 3 months. I'm not talking 10 years or anything like that. Now, there was a bill proposed by Elizabeth Warren, the socialist/communist of the US government, against crypto. She hates crypto. Why? Because she's a socialist. So she loves control. See, what matters to her is for her to be in control of everybody else's lives. That's what she wants. Now, all the governments want that to a certain extent. But the people on their side of the political spectrum want that to the extreme, because in her mind, she knows better than everybody else. So it's a little bit like, as long as she controls is on top, other stuff than can be tolerated. You see, people like her used to talk a lot about how bad millionaires with the M were, but now they only talk about billionaires with the B. If you guys don't know why, it's because they themselves are now millionaires. Same thing happened with Bernie Sanders. He used to talk about in 2016 millionaires, millionaires, millionaires. Fast forward 2020 and it was billionaires, billionaires, billionaires. Why? Because he himself was a millionaire. Now what you should ask yourself is, how is it possible that people like her, not just her, people like her go from average to millionaires just by holding public office? But that I'll leave to your imagination how that happens. Once again, that caused a big sell-off in crypto. And as the big sell-off with crypto happened, people were, of course, the news, the fear stuff comes out. As I mentioned before, in my opinion, we are also due for a sell-off, in the sense that we've been going nothing but vertical, to be honest, and it's all normal that we pull back a bit more aggressively. And in my opinion, if you try to play the volatility game, particularly with leverage, you have the recipe to get completely annihilated. So in my view, this is what I'm doing. Every time I see these big sell-offs at the moment, I try to buy big stacks of crypto instead of, so on the bear market, I was pretty much buying weekly or monthly, depending on my availability. And now that we are at the end of the recovery year, is mostly when there's big sell-offs, I buy some big stacks. But in any case, let's say the bill goes through, crypto gets destroyed in the US, blah, blah, blah. Innovation will just move elsewhere on the planet. It's very simple. You see, the US has enemies. It's people that don't like them. So if the US doesn't like something, then the people on the other side like it. Example, China banned crypto, I don't know how many times by now. But as soon as the US turned sour on crypto, all of a sudden there was a big push for Hong Kong to facilitate crypto. That's it. You're going to see this kind of stuff because there's an incentive. First of all, it's clear that the technology is disruptive. It's clear that the technology is here to stay. So if one side doesn't like it that much, then it gives the incentives for the other sides to like it. I've mentioned this before, but for the newcomers, there was a time where London was the financial capital of the world, not just of Europe. Now it's even arguable if it's still of Europe. I would say so, but less than it used to be. But it changed in the 90s. It went from London to New York. Question is why? Because London had a bad regulator, and they didn't keep up with innovation in certain financial products. That's not going into great details, but it was connected to futures, options, all of this kind of stuff. So New York moved with it. New York became the financial capital of the world. London ended up copying New York regulation. Fast forward 10 to 20 years, New York was the financial capital of the world, and London was irredeemably left behind. That's it. So yes, in the short run, it does raise some eyebrows, it causes some concerns. In the long run, in my view, makes very little difference as innovation moves to certain parts of Europe, to Hong Kong, to Singapore, to China, to Japan, to South Korea, and unfortunately, the US gets left behind. Of course, these people in power don't give two craps about it. They only care about elections and re-elections. That's their entire aim. Left wing, right wing, they all want the same thing, election and be re-elected. That's it. So you should try to, always, in my opinion, take charge of your own life. See what you can improve. Control what you can control. Strive to be better on what you can be better. And don't waste so many time thinking about how people A, B, C, and D can destroy your life. Up to you guys. You do whatever you want, but that's my view. Now, when it comes to stocks, fairly stable. Do think waiting for the last Fed meeting of the year and the last Fed decisions. Once again, We are extremely close to a new all-time high in the Nasdaq 100, and particularly the Dow Jones as well. I think we're like 500 points away or so on the Dow Jones. Think about all those people like Peter Schiff, Harry Dent, and the likes that told you that we wouldn't see new all-time highs until, for decades to come. Peter in particular, he proclaimed the end of Bitcoin. That's it. It was finished. Bitcoin and crypto is completely finished. They would never come back, blah, blah, blah. And you compare to what I said, and you get the conclusion. You see, the reason why I can tell you the truth, and the reason why I tell you what I really believe, is because I don't depend on you. I don't depend on ad revenue. I don't depend on sponsorships, on people buying my books, on newsletters, on going into to talk shows, podcasts, and the like, speaking. I make my money outside of here. So I can tell you the truth. This is not my life. And for the people that have been following over the months, and they've appreciated what I've been trying to do, they do recognize that many times I have very unpopular opinions that end up to be right. But this is the world of YouTube, and who gets all the following? You know it. It's the guy who promises you the next 20 cryptos to 100x in a week. It's the guys who sell you trading courses, and they are the guys who are permanently wrong on every prediction they make. But in any case, community is growing. We have the right people. We have few people, but the right ones. That's what matters the most. Don't forget, like and subscribe. I'll catch you tomorrow in the live stream, and I hope to see a lot of you there, and that you have some nice, good questions for me. With that, I'll leave you be. Thank you very much, and I'll catch you in the next one.